Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time.
Now, for those of you unaware, David is real name David Anthony Burke, 21 years old. He rose to fame in 2022 off of TikTok with songs like Romantic Homicide. He signed at Interscope Records, then performed at Coachella in 2025, and known as one of the fast-rising alt-pop / R&B artists before this case happened. Now, what they're saying is in 2024, his relationship with this minor girl allegedly began. In 2024, the victim, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who was 13 or 14 at the time, was first reported missing. In April, the prosecutors say that she went to David's house and was never heard from again. September is when her body was discovered. Her body was found dismembered in a Tesla that was actually reportedly linked to him or owned by him. I think the tags was like in his name or something. And the car had been found because it was abandoned and towed after a foul odor had been reported. In February, since February of this year, the investigation is actually intensified, and he finally became a suspect. Well, on April 16th, he was arrested by the LAPD and held without bail, but they were taking forever to finally charge him with. And now, as of yesterday, he was officially charged with plus multiple felonies, and he's actually pled not guilty in court.
Calling People versus David Anthony Burke. That's case number 26 CJC F02399.
Your Honor, we believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death.
This is about to be the OJ trial of the TikTok generation.
Some breaking news now. Los Angeles officials have just announced that the singer David is facing first-degree charges in connection to the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose remains were found in the trunk of David's car last year. Take a listen.
I'm announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or a witness in an investigation. These special circumstances carry with it, along with the first-degree charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. The determination on whether or not...
Very serious charges there coming out of that press conference in Los Angeles. Joining us now, we have Brittany Hope, who is from NBC Los Angeles and has been following this case closely. She joins us now along with Misty Maris, who is our NBC News legal analyst. Brittany, I want to start with you. I want to get into the nature of the specific charges, but I think a lot of people who have been following this case have also been wondering why it took so long to bring these charges, given that it was just described in that press conference as a brutal and horrific crime.
So, Morgan, as you said, we have been on this case since last year, and our law enforcement sources have told us that for a long time, David was seen as a suspect in this case for months now. But because of how fragile this investigation is, and because they wanted to make sure that their T's were crossed, their I's were dotted, they were very, very careful before making that formal arrest. And that happened just at the end of last week when he was formally arrested by LA police in the Hollywood Hills, bringing us to today. Let's go over those three charges. So this is brand new. We just learned within the past few minutes the most serious charge, first degree, with a special allegation that singer David was lying in wait. District Attorney Nathan Hochman just said that prosecutors were alleging that this 14-year-old girl had gone to the singer's home and she had never been seen since. There's also other charges involving sexual assault and dismembering of a body. This is just step one. After this, the singer and TikToker will then go to court, and that's when he'll be presented with these new charges.
Brittany, thank you. I want to go to Misty now. So, Misty, David was actually the target of this grand jury investigation in February, but he wasn't named as a suspect until just last week. Yep. Now we're seeing these charges. What do you make of the circumstances that the DA just laid out?
So this was really an unusual way that this case really came to be, because we're talking about a 7-month investigation since last September. A lot of hurdles here when we know that there was some serious decomposition of the body that was found. The medical examiner's report has been under seal. Perhaps that will change now that these charges have been formally brought. But what we saw was an arrest on Thursday without a grand jury indictment, without a criminal complaint. And now Nathan Hochman announcing what the basis for those charges are, and something that's very significant here. We did not know what the nature of the charges would be, if they would even be charges. We knew he was arrested on suspicion, but now it's first degree with special circumstances. Those are the most serious charges that somebody could face in the state of California.
Can you drill down on that? Because I think that's interesting to a lot of people, these special circumstances, because he mentions lying in wait, he mentions financial gain, and then he mentions dismemberment. Explain that and how that affects the potential sentencing.
So when you have a first degree charge, it's an intentional, but it can be even more severe when there's an enumerated special circumstance. Those are all laid out in the statute in California. So now we're learning some disturbing details, because this is the basis for the special circumstance charges: lying in wait, financial gain. However, we don't necessarily know what the facts behind that are, because we don't have all of the information about what will ultimately be presented to a jury when this case goes to trial. But this is the first insight we've had into exactly what the nature of the charges are. So this means the prosecutors believe there was an intentional that was committed with the lying in wait, financial gain, and the last one, which I think is very interesting, a witness to a crime, actually a witness to a crime. So that's really significant. There's going to be a lot more to this narrative. Remember what happened during the course of the investigation. It's taken a long time. There was a search warrant that was executed on his home. There were multiple individuals who were in his circle who actually testified before the grand jury, which was acting as an investigative body for months now.
And Misty, at the heart of this, a 14-year-old girl, her family that is grieving. I want to go back out to Brittany, who's standing by live in Los Angeles. Brittany, we understand Celeste Hernandez's family is expected to comment and deliver some remarks today. What have they said about the arrest so far of David?
This is going to be the first time that we have seen the family, that we have formally heard from the family since that arrest late last week. And the family said, they told us that they're at that press conference with the district attorney in LA County, with LAPD. They said that they are going to be in the courtroom today when that arraignment happens. Now, before that, the family had told us through our months of investigating this, they had known that Celeste had somehow known the singer David. Since then, it's been a long fight for justice. They say that this today is going to be some sort of a step forward.
If you're an artist and you want me to hear your music, give you feedback, and help you improve, submit your songs to my live music reviews by visiting www.cranklucas.live. I play your songs in front of our live chat, and whoever has the best song wins a $100 prize and free promo. All genres and producers welcome. Send me your music today.
I'm not a lawyer, but SF Investigators, he's a private investigator, just posted the David Burke felony complaint, so let's go through it. And I'm telling you now, I have questions, so let's go through this together and then comment with your thoughts. Okay, first thing to call out is it says on or about April 24th, 2025 in the county of Los Angeles, the crime was committed by David Anthony Burke. So that off top tells us that law enforcement believes Celeste was on or about April of 2025. And remember, Celeste's body was not found until September 8th of 2025. So almost 5 months after police believe she was. And if you recall from the press conference, the DA said that Celeste went to David's house after he invited her over on April 23rd, 2025.
On April 23rd, 2025, as been alleged by the complaint, Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time, went to Mr. Burke's house in the Hollywood Hills. She was never heard from again. On September 8th, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, Miss Celeste's remains, her dismembered and decomposed remains, were found in 2 bags inside of a front trunk of a car registered to Mr. Burke.
So based on all of that, it sounds like the DA believes that David invited Celeste over, and within 24 hours, she was dead. Okay, now back to the complaint. Next, it says that David Celeste for financial gain, which we already know the prosecutor said the financial gain was his career.
As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night.
And interestingly enough, the pre-sale for David's world tour started on April 23rd, with the public sale starting on April 24th, which again is the very day that prosecutors believe David Celeste. And then next the doc says, quote, Celeste was a witness to a crime and was intentionally because of that fact. And again, back to the press conference, the DA basically said that Celeste was a witness and a victim to the same crime. And that crime was that David was abusing her sexually.
The witness to the investigation was Celeste, and the investigation was into the lewd and lascivious sexual acts committed by Mr. Burke that is the subject of count 2 of this complaint with Celeste while she was under 14 years old.
And then next up, the document says that David her by means of lying in wait. And then it says that he, quote, personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon, to wit, a sharp instrument, which makes sense because they believe he also dismembered her. Okay, now on to count 2, which is the charge for abuse. And what's interesting here is that it says on or between September 7th, 2023 and September 4th, 2024, the crime of continuous abuse was committed by David to Celeste, a child under the age of 14, while the defendant resided with and had reoccurring access to the child. So based on this, it sounds like prosecutors believe that at some point during September of 23 and September of 24, Celeste was staying with David, and during that time period, he was abusing her. But what's also interesting about this count is that they ended at September of 2024, but they believe she was in April of 2025. So do they believe the interactions between the two of them stopped after September of 24? And if that's the case, I'm so curious what they believe led up to him inviting her over his house in April of 2025. Okay, and then on to count 3, it says that the mutilation happened in the county of Los Angeles. So that's the complaint. And David did have his arraignment today, and during that arraignment, his attorney said that they want the preliminary hearing to happen quickly.
We believe that Mr. Burke is entitled at the earliest opportunity to an open preliminary hearing and the proceedings not be done in secret. So we are asking for a preliminary hearing to be set at the earliest possible date.
So David will be back in court on Thursday, April 24th for his preliminary hearing. And as a quick refresher, the point of a preliminary hearing is for the prosecutors to lay out some of their case in front of a judge, and a judge determines if there's enough probable cause for this case to proceed to trial or not. And that means we can expect to get more information about what prosecutors believe happened in this case. I imagine the hearing is going to be packed with people, but I do plan to attend, so we will see how that goes. Rest in peace to Celeste Rivas, because this is truly a tragic case.
Your Honor, we believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that. We're asking for April 23rd as a 3 of 10, Your Honor.
Anything from the people?
We'll be very happy to put on the evidence that we've collected in this case in the last several months.
Thank you. So the matter will be set. Plea of not guilty has been entered on behalf of Mr. Burke. The matter will be set in Department 105. The matter is ordered assigned to Judge Charlene Almeida in Department 105 for all purposes by the judge of the supervising judge of criminal.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may just put on the record, we have, as soon as the people arrived, delivered a informal discovery request consistent with Penal Code Section 1054. We have been given almost no discovery thus far. We've received a 3-page follow-up report, no autopsy report, and a copy of the complaint. And we would ask the people respectfully to produce discovery at the earliest opportunity.
Your Honor, as I indicated to counsel, there's approximately 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. Moreover, in order to obtain the transcripts from a grand jury investigation, counsel has to file a motion. She knows the way the system works. I'm not able to gather those. They have to be provided after the court orders them released because it was an investigation. Second of all, if counsel plans on going to a preliminary hearing within the 10 days, it is unlikely that there will be very much discovery provided within that period, given the voluminous nature and how long it's going to take to copy onto drives. In addition to that, the coroner's report was sealed in this case in order to prevent it from hampering truthful testimony from witnesses that testified at the grand jury, so an order will also have to be obtained in order to get the coroner's department, which is now the medical examiner's department, to release those materials.
Your Honor, it's surprising news given that the District Attorney's Office held a press conference this morning where they discussed the cause of death, apparently under seal and not released by the coroner's office, as did the robbery homicide unit to the press. So we would again reiterate, we believe that Mr. Burke is entitled to discovery. We have served the people with notice. They have 15 days to produce discovery in this case. We would ask that they do that in conscientious earnestness and as quickly as possible.
I'd ask the court to make an order today. We'll take a copy of the minute order ordering the Department of Medical Examiner to release their coroner's report in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The court will order that the medical examiner release the report in this case forthwith.
Thank you.
The matter is set in Department 105, as the court indicated, April 23rd, 2026, as a 3 of 10 p.m. Anything further?
No, not at this time.
Bail to stand at no bail. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Today I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. And there are 3 sets of charges that have been brought. The first degree with special circumstances, and again, those special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance being that this was committed for financial gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night. The third charge, in addition to lying in wait and for financial gain, is a witness to an investigation. In this particular case, as the evidence will come out in court, the witness to the investigation was Celeste. And the investigation was into the lewd and lascivious sexual acts committed by Mr. Burke that is the subject of count 2 of this complaint with Celeste while she was under 14 years old. The investigation was to determine who Celeste months and months before. That investigation was carried out in unison and in partnership between the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and the District Attorney's Office. At every point in the investigation, through the arrest and the filing of charges, the LAPD and the District Attorney's Office have worked in lockstep. There's been no disagreements amongst these entities in deciding how to proceed with this case, ultimately leading to these charges today.
All right, guys, I'm going to leave the content here. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and comment below what you think about this whole case. Do you think he did it? How long do you think he's going to get in prison? Let us know. Artists, brands, business owners, if you want more exposure, you need more views. Get promoted on my platforms today. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, millions of followers, millions of views. DM me or email me, bookandcranklucas@gmail.com. Let's grow your following together.